Hello and welcome. It's great to see you here today. It's great to see some friendly faces, and I look forward to meeting many more of you before the afternoon is over. My name is Linda Rindelman, and I am the Director for Partner Business and Development at Microsoft UK. It's my personal responsibility to make sure you get some value out of this afternoon. You've taken the great time to be with us, and I think we've got a great lineup for you. We've got a great mix of speakers who will touch on things from local to global business opportunity. We've also got some great insights from customers and partners, and we'll look at the technology transformation that's happening today. But today is all about change and growth, and I think there's no better indicator for change, at least for me, as much as what comes from our kids. And how many of you have kids that probably can manage technology better than you can? I definitely fall in that category. I had one of these aha moments recently where I took a call from my son, and it made me realize just how much the world is changing. Before I kind of progress with my story, I'll tell you, my son's 21. He is a student at the University of Central Florida. He still lives in the U.S. And, you know, he's no dummy. He's like makes his way through life. But I still don't think it prepared me for this call. So he calls and says, "Mom, I need to ask you what I know is a dumb question, but I have to ask." So I thought, okay, yeah, go ahead, shoot. And he says, I got these concert tickets, and I need to mail one to my friend Zach. Now, his friend Zach lives about 3 hours away from him. I said, okay. He said, so I need you to remind me how I need to do this. He said, I know I need an envelope. And I said, that's a great start, yes. He goes, can I just buy one of those? And I said, maybe you should think about getting a pack of 10. You know, you may need one sometime. And he says, well, where do I get that? So I go through the explanation of that. And then he says, okay, great. And I said, do you remember where you write the address and everything? He said, yes. Okay, I know I need one of those stickers. And I said, yeah, that's called a stamp. And he says, yeah, okay, a stamp. Where do I get one of those? And I said, well, you can get one from the post office, which is convenient because then you can post the ticket while you're there. And he says, okay, great, thanks, I really appreciate it. And I had a few thoughts when I hung up the phone. The first was, oh my God, am I the worst mother in the world for like leaving this child to fend for himself in the US when he doesn't even know how to post something? And then I had this realization that, you know, he's 21 years old and he has had a mobile phone since he's been about 12. And I held off because all of his friends were getting him a couple years probably before that. So really, why would he need to know how to post something? Because everything that he can do, that he needs to do in order to communicate, he can do via his phone or his PC. You know, he texts his friends, he's very engaged in social networking, he can send birthday cards online, he can pay his bills online. Everything he can do via the technology that he has. And I thought, thank God I'm not in the envelope business, number one. And number two, how lucky do I feel to be in technology? Because change is hard and it's not always easy. And thinking about change and how we change can be really complicated. But I think for us, you know, we're not working in the world of decreased demand and increased competition. We're working in a world where we change in order to optimize the opportunity that's available for us in the market. So there's no better person to talk about growth and opportunity in the UK than our General Manager of our small mid-market solutions and partners group, Clare Barclay. So please help me welcome Clare to the stage.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to have the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you today. And great to see so many of you, and I can see some familiar faces in the room, which is always nice as well. So Linda talked about the opportunity for growth and change. And certainly in the time that I've worked at Microsoft, which I'll come back to in a minute shortly, there's been a lot of change in the industry. I mean, just as a show of hands, how many of you have only been in the industry for maybe 5 years? How many? 10? 15? 20? 25? More? Okay, cool. So you've got there's an amazing amount of experience in the room. I've certainly probably been in the industry about 25. I've worked for Microsoft for 15 of those years. And in my time at Microsoft, we've certainly seen change. And I think actually that's what spurs the industry. I think for all of you, all of us that have the pleasure of being part of this industry, part of the thing we enjoy the most is change, and change drives opportunity. And I think we're definitely in a market that's changing right now. Microsoft has made its business, its history, the technology industry out of innovation. It's made it also about the fundamental principle of partnership. And it's no more true today than it was when we set business up in 1975. For those people that have been in business for the length of time that you raised your hand, I just want to take you back and think about the history of Microsoft. I'll leave the pause for the last picture on the slide there. So Microsoft established in 1975. We build our history of innovation and partnership, as I said. And it reminded me the other day, I found this picture in 1998 when I joined Microsoft. The first thing I thought was, my God, really, did I look like that long ago? And then my son, a bit similar to the Linda story, my son said to me, wow, Mummy, look how young you look there. Not like now. So I was like, thank you for that feedback. But it did remind me and think, wow, it was just after the launch of Windows 95, and think about how much the industry has changed. Let me flick you through and you can remind yourselves of some of the things that's happened during that time. So, launch of XP, which is a very topical point at the moment, as I'm sure you'll know with many of your customers, when that was introduced. Office System 2003, I'll flick through the rest. It'll walk through time. You can see some of the changes and things that have been announced there. And actually, Microsoft as a company, through that time, we've changed radically. You'll remember the change that we made in terms of the shift for the internet focus and how important the internet now is in fueling technology. And now we're in a new chapter, and I fundamentally believe that the change that we're going through now and the shift and impact of both cloud and devices will be the next big shift in the industry. So I think when we look back, maybe not in 15 years' time, but when we look back in 5 to 10 years' time, we will look back on this time as fairly pivotal in all of our businesses, and certainly for Microsoft. And, the change now in terms of the leadership changes that have just been announced, we've just announced a new CEO. We're excited, I guess, about the opportunity that we have to really grow our businesses together. And that's kind of what today is about. It's inspiring you around how to build your business and build partnership with Microsoft in terms of the opportunities that we see in the market. In terms of the market and how that's shifting, we believe there are some big market forces that are changing the way fundamentally that customers buy. And I'm sure many of you in the customer engagements that you have see some of these market forces day to day in the engagements that you have with your customers. And that, as I said, is changing the way that customers purchase technology. It's changing the way that we need to service those customers and the innovation and technology that we need to provide. And it's changing the way that partners need to serve customers and partner with us more effectively. None of these will be a surprise to you. So of the people that put their hand up that started in the industry 25 years ago, I don't know, we certainly didn't have mobile in the way that we have today. I mean, I don't need to do a show of hands to ask how many people have got a mobile phone with them today. I don't need to ask you how many people have access to their mobile, how many people have access to their data. I don't need to ask you how many people are on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, etc. All of you today will, many of you in the room will be tweeting as this presentation goes on, will be sharing information, will be connecting with people here, will make connections here that you will then follow up with. There's business opportunities to be made. And all of that is being fueled by the advent of mobility and the advent of social. Huge impact in terms of the way that consumers and business people are operating. As an anecdote, certainly 10 years ago, most of the hiring that Microsoft did was through traditional recruitment. We have an HR team, we get people's CVs coming in, etc. 60% of our recruitment for Microsoft today is done through social media, either through LinkedIn, through connections that people make, etc. So it's really changing the way that we look to hire talent, etc., into Microsoft as an example. And then on the subject of cloud, I don't know if I do a show of hands here, is how many of you are having conversations with your customers where customers are thinking about how to change their businesses based on the impact of cloud, and they want to understand from you how you can help them, just as a show of hands. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that cloud's the only solution that customers are looking at. And actually, we believe that the opportunity for hybrid and whether the customers have a combination of the technology they have in-house and the advent of cloud and how that's going to help them is going to be really, really important. Data is going out of control. There's a data point on here, which you probably can't see because of the grey on the slide, that says digital content will grow to 2.7 gigabyte in 2012, and that's already gone off the charts. The first question I asked was, what's a gigabyte? But trust me, it's a lot of data. So customers need to find ways to manage lots and lots of data. They've got to find ways to manage their customer relationships. And all of this requires experts like you in the room to help them figure out the best way to do that. So as a company, given all these market trends that's going on, we have to make sure that we're innovating fast enough to bring the right technology solutions to market so that we can take advantage of that. Now, I talked about mobile. I think the other aspect that's really important is about how customers are consuming technology. Now, all of you will have a mobile phone with you today. Some of you may have a tablet, and some of you will go back to your office, or many of you will go back to your offices later, and you may have a laptop, a PC, etc. We think the device is really important in the way that customers will consume software and services as we go forward. So this really sets the tone and the vision for Microsoft in terms of where we believe the market will go. When I showed you the history of Microsoft earlier on, many of our original vision was around a PC on in every desk and in every home. And that seemed like a really bold aspiration at the time. Now, clearly, that's become market reality. We believe the next generation of growth will be driven by the use of devices and services and how that's going to fuel empowerment in both consumers and in customers in terms of the kind of work that they do and driving value experiences. And we believe that's where opportunity will come with you, our partners. One of the questions I get asked the most when I have the pleasure of going around talking to partners, I was in Manchester and Leeds just last week, did many roundtables with many partners similar to yourselves. And one of the questions I get asked the most is, tell me what's going on in the UK market. Where should I place my bets? Where's the business opportunities and where's the growth? So I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the market. Now, hopefully, all of you will be experiencing a slightly better market than we were operating in a couple of years ago. I think coming off the back of recession, certainly what we're seeing from customers now, customers' spending is freeing up a little bit, and I think that's showing in both the economic indicators as well as the software market. Which is good to hear. Good to see, actually, because I think that, certainly I'm speaking on behalf of Microsoft, we definitely had some more challenging times in the last couple of years with customers' propensity to spend. The good news is, if you look across all of the workloads there, and all of you will operate in some of them, whether it's SharePoint, working in Dynamics, offering support around infrastructure, productivity, etc., you can see the indices there in terms of how the market is growing, and that's the blue arrow, and then Microsoft's performance against the market. So you can see every workload, every technology area, on-premise, cloud, etc., is growing well above market. So you should feel confident of the opportunity to build your business around Microsoft in terms of the value-add services, training, support, infrastructure, and consulting that you will add around Microsoft. There's one of the boards that managed to stay on the wall over there shows that for every pound Microsoft makes, there's a data point up there that says it's about £9. I was talking to one of my team earlier that said they've been spending some time with partners recently, and they said, £9 only, I think that's more like 20, that's more like 25. And our job is to make opportunity in the market for you to build your business around. The growth across the board is strong, but actually the real fast growth in the UK market right now is driven by cloud. You can see it's the highest yellow axis that's up there. And that growth is being driven. I'll give you some data points in terms of the businesses that we class as cloud, Office 365, Azure, CRM, and many of the others. They're all growing at triple digit. And in the first half of this year, so in the last 6 months on Office 365, we had 1,000 new partners that did their first deal on Office 365. That's growing at about another 150 to 200 partners a month. It's growing really, really fast. We added 20,000 new customers on the Office 365 technology in the last 6 months. We expect that to be more than 30,000 in the next 6 months. So this growth is huge. And many of those customers, like where are they coming from? They may be SBS technology customers that had bought a small business server before, and as that has changed, they're making the decision to move to cloud. They could be customers that may have gone to Dixon's before and bought packaged product, and they're now seeing the advantage of moving their business to the cloud, the cost efficiency that that gives them, and the ability for a small business to act and operate like a large organisation. Azure is also an area that's growing very rapidly in terms of customers showing interest for how to build their infrastructure in the cloud in a different way. So we're very excited about the opportunity that cloud presents both for us as Microsoft, but also for you as partners. We've seen many customers, not just the small ones that I made reference to there, but many customers that are building their business on cloud technology. There's just some of the examples in the UK for where we're winning in cloud, and we're helping those customers, along with our partners, move their business to the cloud. So as well as understanding where the opportunity lies, the next second question I get asked the most is, why are customers moving? I gave you some of the examples, but partners want to hear, why are they moving, what decisions do they make, and what do they look for in partners that help them do that? So I'm delighted to be able to welcome on stage a customer who has moved their business to the cloud. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Craig Coverman to the stage from Utopia. So thank you so much for taking the time firstly to come along and share the experience with the partners in the room. So firstly, Utopia, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about your business?
Utopia is an international recruitment company. We specialise in telecoms, technology. In fact, some of our customers are here today.
Hopefully a bit more by the end of the day.
We hope so, that's why I'm here. We're a small enterprise, but in the last decade we've placed 2,500 people in over 70 countries around the world. And I suppose, in a nutshell, we try and find great talent for our clients.
And in terms of growth and the business outlook, how does that look for Utopia? Obviously, market's picked up. What are you seeing?
It's still a difficult UK market, a lot of client opportunities, so everyone's recruiting. Not a lot of great talent on the market at the moment. So companies are having to work hard to hire really good people. Internationally, we're very busy. We're growing in Africa, Middle East. Those are the two primary markets we're looking at.
I mean, that's definitely a theme that we hear from our partners around, they've got opportunity there, but actually finding the right people is a real challenge for them.
Yeah, companies are having to work very hard to attract and retain good people.
So you talked about kind of overseas expansion, technology, etc., in terms of how you're going about doing that. Well, what role would you say technology has played in your business in terms of as you look out for the next 3 years?
Well, it's pivotal to our business. Running the business internationally presents some opportunities as well as some challenges with mobility issues of our consultants on the road, and it's an enabler. So the internet for us has been a revelation, but also a threat, as I suppose it is for most big companies.
I mean, as I made reference, the change in the recruitment patterns in Microsoft, it's obviously presented some challenge as well as threat to you in terms of how you compete versus that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think for us, as the market recovers, we see it coming round again. So I think the emphasis at the moment is for companies to try and do it themselves. But I think as the market tightens for talent, opportunities for agencies and recruitment consultancies will come back.
Especially in more specialised skill areas, we certainly see that in our business. And so do you want to talk a little bit about, you made a technology choice to help your business grow. I mean, how did you go about, firstly, why did you do that? And then how did you go about making the selection process?
That's an interesting question. I think the why is probably more interesting than the how. I think a common theme, and if everyone in the room asks their clients today what the biggest challenge is, it's their customers wanting more for less, as ours are. So all our clients want more recruitment service for less and less fees, and I think that's a common theme in the marketplace. The question is, how do you deliver that commercially, more for less and still make money? So for us it was an opportunity to reduce overheads by moving to the cloud, enabling a greater use of technology to create more placements.
And you chose a partner to help you do that. Did they come to you? Did you make the decision to move to cloud and find them, or how did that come about?
Well, it's an interesting one because a lot of our systems were already on the cloud. So our candidate database, our client CRM, a number of other tools that we use to source good people, they're all on the cloud. The only bit that wasn't was email and documents, and we were spending an inordinate amount of money on having our own racks and servers and constant license upgrades and all the other bits that go with running your own infrastructure. So we made the decision to go to the cloud. Cloud and More, who are our partner, came to us, but we were courting with a number of other suppliers as well.
So I guess what stood out in Cloud and More as to why you chose them?
I think primarily because they specialised in cloud. We did talk to our old existing supplier, and they came to us with a private cloud offering which was as expensive as the one we already had. So it was a bit of a sort of they didn't get it. And actually I think that the companies we spoke to, some people got the concept of what we were trying to do and others clearly didn't. It was sort of tag on at the end. Or we also do cloud. We wanted a cloud specialist.
Okay. And do you want to talk a bit about, you obviously made the choice to go to Office 365, so thank you for that. But why choose Office 365 over other technologies that are available to you, and what consideration did you go through?
We did look at some other options, but we're already a Microsoft house, albeit we're a small company. But we were using Exchange, Outlook, Word, Excel, all the normal stuff. So we wanted an uninterrupted service to the consultants on board. So it was a bit of a no-brainer in the end to go with Microsoft. It was a bit of a safe option, I suppose. We could have gone with some other players, but we wanted a consistent experience. So turning off PC one night, coming in the next morning, turning it back on. And really, no training issues. The only training issues were training in new features that we didn't previously have, which is a positive thing rather than retraining someone to use a new email platform. Yeah,
and I think consistency and keeping the experience right to keep your business running was very important to you. You talked when we spoke earlier that not everything went perfectly well in terms of how that moves. So do you want to talk a little bit about how that happened and how the partner supported you with that?
Well, our old IT company were trying to sell us yet another expensive infrastructure to support the business growth. And so Cloud and More put together a transition plan to move us across to the cloud, and there was a plan B in case something went wrong. The day before we were due to make the move across, our key Exchange server fell over and completely went. And the current IT company said, well, we could buy another Exchange server for you. We're not getting it. We're getting rid of our infrastructure. And so Plan B kicked in place. Everything accelerated. And within 3 hours, I think we were back online on the new platform.
Great. Yeah, it was good that they thought through that backup plan.
There was a backup plan. I mean, there was still a transition of the old data across, but at least new emails were coming onto our platform. And so although I lost a few more hairs that day, there was only a couple of hours when the business wasn't online.
Yeah. And what now that you're up and running, etc., what benefits are you seeing from having made the decision to move to the cloud?
Well, the easiest one to quantify is the cost saving. So we're a small business. We're saving, I reckon now, about £5,000 a month on our infrastructure costs. Which is great because I can invest that in training for people, customer events. We're using that money rather than spending it on infrastructure, on winning more business and training our people, which are positive things to spend your money on as a business.
And you focused on that investment with Cloud and More in terms of training and support. The kind of services they're offering you are just different, aren't they?
Yeah, so some of it's technology related training, but a lot of it's to do with how we service our customers and win more business. And so really positive things for the business. But the most quantifiable is the easy one, is the money that you save by moving on the cloud. The really interesting stuff for me is the new features that we never had access to before because we were on an old platform, Office 2007. I can't remember what Office version it was.
One of the ones that was on my slide, probably.
One of the ones on your slide.
Yeah.
But we were on the latest versions of everything now.
And you'll stay that way, right?
And every time an update comes out, we get it, you know, and we don't have to pay any more for it. But there's a load of stuff that we're not using yet that at least we've got access to now. We weren't even on that playing field before. So there's I'm trying to think of some of the new features. There's a whole raft of stuff. Intune supplies all our updates for us.
Yeah.
But all the new features with Word and Excel and with the email platform are really saving time and money for the business. So the productivity within the business has definitely increased, and we're only scratching the surface.
That's
It's the
great.
beginning of the journey, but at least we're on the journey now.
Yeah. So I guess for all the partners in the room, what advice would you give them in serving the customers that they work with?
I would say ask your customer what pain they're having as a business. What's impacting their business now? Start there, because for us that was the beginning of our journey. Was, you know, clients are asking more for less, so that got us thinking about how we deliver more for less and do it profitably. If you have those conversations with your customers, they'll open up and they'll tell you what's causing them pain, and there's your opportunity to sell them something. And the way I would sell it is the sort of push and pull factor. The push factor is that, you know, and the pull factor is the opportunity for them to do way more than they're doing now for less money with their technology platform. And I think for us the key, if I were to sort of wrap it all up, is that we're saving money as a business. We've got more opportunity now. What we've gone from being is an IT company that did some recruitment to being a recruitment company that really services its customers. And we're able now to focus on important stuff for the business, which is selling more to our customers and providing a way better service to them. And it has been a revelation.
That's great. And Cladamore obviously played a key role in helping you with that.
And they continue. They do great support for us. And actually what they do as a customer is come to us and say, look, there's this new feature. Have you thought you could do this? And sometimes it's not relevant, but actually that proactive approach is great.
Great. Well, thank you so much, firstly, again, for taking the time to come and share your story with the partners here. It's great to see you're realising the benefit, and great that a partner was able to help you with that. So thanks, and please give a round of applause to Craig. So, I mean, it was great to hear just the example there, and I guess there are many, you know, I talked about the number of customers that have made the decision to move to the Office 365 service in H1 in the first half of our year in the UK. And I think it's great to hear some of the reasons why Cladamore as that partner was chosen. I'm sure many of you have your own stories along that side, but hopefully that was food for thought in terms of customer. I think if I think right back to all of the change that's going on and the time that I've been at Microsoft, and I look at the opportunity and path that we have ahead, I feel very optimistic about the opportunity we have to partner with you to grow the business. The business is growing fast, and I think the opportunity for you to build your business, hopefully around the Microsoft platform, we can give you some insight today around where technology is going and how you can build your business to be more profitable and more successful as you go forward. I think some of the quotes there, as you think back on how things are changing, I guess my challenge to you is to think a little bit differently, think about how your customers are changing, and think about how you can build your businesses around that. We're here to support you with that. I want to say thank you again from me and for the whole team in terms of the time commitment that you're making to coming to this event today, and hopefully we'll give you a few little inspiration on areas of focus and investment for you in your business. So I'm excited about the growth opportunities, but let's just take a look at the video and see what the analysts are saying about Microsoft. Thank you.